Hello and a very warm welcome to news on NTA International. The headlines. President Buhari hinges sustainable growth in Africa on the success of fight against corruption. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says United States will collaborate with Nigeria in solving its fundamental challenges. UNDP to assist Nigeria in rebuilding the Northeast. I am Chiazalam Eki. Welcome. President Buhari says checking the menace of corruption is the most critical pathway in achieving sustainable growth and development of African economies. The president said this while addressing a high-level roundtable on corruption, migration, and bridging Africa's infrastructural gap held in New York. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
Put together by the African Peer Review Mechanism and NEPAD Nigeria, the forum, which brought together experts, development partners, and other critical stakeholders, analyzed the progress made by Nigeria and the challenges being encountered in the fight against corruption, as well as addressing infrastructural deficit for sustainable development.
Corruption has met a match in President Muhammad Buhari. With him as the real leader and the flag bearer, I think we are going to win the war against corruption.
Corruption kills lives. And I think, President Buhari, we are counting on your championship in order to expand what you have been doing in Nigeria to the rest of the African countries.
I have known the president when I was a kid. He has always been a corruption hunter all his life. So we copied from him, and we don't have any apology to anybody in the fight against corruption.
We are an African solution to an African challenge, and our governments have put their money where their mouth is.
President Muhammad Buhari expressed regret that despite efforts by African leaders to ensure greater transparency and accountability in government business, billions of dollars, great talents, and professionals are continually drained out of the continent through various corrupt activities. Looking ahead, the president stressed the urgent need for the adoption of laws, regulations, and policies that encourage transparent financial transactions, youth and women's empowerment programs, as well as good infrastructural links amongst member states towards sanitizing the continent of such ills.
It is sad and objectionable that our continent still battles with grand corruption at the highest level, leading to resource migration through opaque systems in many recipient countries, and the outright willingness of some advanced countries to harbor stolen funds from Africa. I want to assure the conference that African leaders are totally committed to greater transparency and accountability in government businesses for our growth and sustainable development.
In the meantime, it was a day of glory for President Muhammad Buhari as the state of New Jersey and city of Philadelphia gave him special citations for not only serving his people with distinction, but also making Nigeria a truly inspirational nation. As they say, nothing succeeds like success. From New York, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The United States has indicated genuine desire to collaborate more effectively with Nigeria in addressing fundamental challenges of development for a successful conduct of the 2019 elections towards deepening the democratic enterprise for a sustainable future. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said this when he visited President Buhari in New York on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president also met investors in the power sector.
The visit by the U.S. Secretary of State to President Muhammadu Buhari in New York is coming less than 5 months after President Donald Trump played host to the Nigerian leader in the White House. Secretary Mike is therefore here to reassure President Buhari that as critical ally of the United States, Nigeria will continue to be supported in whatever way possible for the sustenance of peace, stability, and socio-economic development.
We talked about the main areas of security, especially, and then the humanitarian challenges, recharging of Lake Chad, and the farmer-herdsman clashes, and the coming elections. The Secretary of State indicated that they were just ready and prepared to, to assist in any way that the president might deem fit. So, in other words, if the president feels that there's anything they could do to help, the door is open for him to just make that request.
President Buhari once again expressed his gratitude to the United States for the technical and military support in the fight against terrorism, and explained the various measures being adopted by his administration to permanently address the lingering farmers-herders conflicts. Meanwhile, in furtherance of his efforts at improving the nation's critical infrastructure, President Buhari engaged some foreign and domestic investors in the power sector.
The President wanted to find out what the progress the business community was making in terms of following through with his drive to ensure that the power generation is improved. And on our side, we are building a 550 megawatt power plant in Kwale, which is in the NMPC, Ondo, Ajip, Naok joint venture. And the mobile producing joint venture is also, there's a power plant which foreign investors are investing up to $1.2 billion in. And he was just a bit concerned about the progress we're making. As you must be aware, he is very keen to ensure that the power sector is reinvigorated, and it needs to be done by a combination of generation being increased, transmission being increased, and also distribution being done.
At the meeting, the investors appreciated the Buhari administration for addressing series of challenges hindering progress in power delivery, such as gas distribution and funding.
We need to certainly thank the government for the efforts they are making in ensuring that we can play our role as a private sector in delivering power to the nation. There's a lot of money behind new power projects, and it's only because of the enabling environment for the sector that has been created by the President's administration. There's no doubt about it. Mr. President has done very well in giving us an opportunity to contribute to the economy.
Discussions also centered on timelines, as the President wants to see a situation where power generated gets transmitted in full and delivered to consumers. From New York, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has departed New York for Abuja after a successful outing at the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. As more displaced persons in the Northeast continue to return home, the UNDP has assured Nigeria of its support in fast-tracking the rebuilding of the region, as well as contributing to the humanitarian relief efforts. The assurance was given when the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyeama, visited the administrator of the UNDP at its headquarters in New York. Marco Simon Macham has details.
The visit of the Foreign Affairs Minister, Geoffrey Onyeama, to the headquarters of the United Nations Development Programme in New York was to first register the appreciation of Nigeria to the UNDP for its support in addressing the humanitarian challenges and other development needs of Nigeria. The minister was delighted at the news that the UNDP administrator and the emergency relief coordinator will be visiting Nigeria to get a first-hand assessment of the humanitarian needs in the Northeast.
What we're interested in is encouraging the international system to get behind the government's efforts, both at the federal level and the state level, to move beyond purely the humanitarian and the saving lives, which is essential.
The UN has been very much involved and supportive on the humanitarian front in the Northeast. We realize that we have to now move towards the development stage. So they also want to hear from Nigerian government what they should be looking at. And of course, it's about reconstruction, rehabilitation. It's about creating an environment for economic growth which will, require schools, education, and also jobs.
Nigeria was assured of UNDP support towards the takeoff of the Northeast Development Commission. From the UNDP headquarters in New York, Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
And still staying with New York, wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, has been conferred with an award of excellence in women empowerment and gender development. Mrs. Buhari was also presented with an honorary citizen of Georgia award from the state of Georgia in United States of America. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports that the program came at the sideline events of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
This is the conferment of the distinguished Global Award for Excellence in Women Empowerment and Gender Development. The award is coming in recognition of Mrs. Buhari's humanitarian contribution, especially her effort in fighting gender-based victimization, human trafficking, and for uplifting the women folk in Nigeria. While dedicating the award to women in struggle towards justifying their cause, Mrs. Buhari reaffirmed her commitment in sustaining her advocacy in pushing forward the demands of women and the realization of their full potentials.
Women receiving end of countless instances of abuse and victimization all over the globe, and I make it my responsibility to do the best I can to give the hope to those affected and to discourage other cases from happening in Nigeria. As you are all aware, my Future Assured initiative implements a number of programs to uplift the status of women through health advocacy and support, economic and educational empowerment, protection against abuse, and as well as encouraging political involvement among women. Our hope is that women will become more aware of the opportunities open to them to live better lives while being confident of society's protection.
The program, which was coming at the sideline event of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly, was attended by the African First Ladies, comprising Deputy Chair of OFLA and the First Lady of Burkina Faso, Sika Kabore, Niger, Lala Malika Yusufu, and the Gambia, Fatima Toba Barrow, as well as other distinguished Nigerians, including the Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Dr. Tijani Bande.
In the continent of Africa, Nigeria is the mightiest country, and nobody can stop you people. Forward ever.
Mrs. Buhari was also presented with the Honorary Citizen of Georgia Award from the state of Georgia under the resolution of Georgia Senator Steve Hansen. The Global Empowerment Movement is an American global humanitarian organization in a special consultation status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council, headed by Dr. Queen Blessing Itwa. From New York City, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
And to political matters now, the APC presidential primary election took place all over the country. Here is a compilation of the exercise.
That the election, which took place at Sarkin Yara ward of Daura local government area, saw a massive turnout of voters. Daura local government APC returning officer Sani Ali declared President Buhari winner with total votes of 1,105 from total registered votes of 1,163. From Jigawa State, Ibrahim Sani reports that the presidential primary election was conducted peacefully in all wards covering the 27 local government areas with high level of enthusiasm. Meanwhile, members of the All Progressive Congress in Ogun State unanimously voted for President Muhammadu Buhari as the sole candidate in the 236 wards in the state. Governor Ibikunle Amosu, who monitored the primary in Obafemi Owode local government area, commended APC members for their peaceful conduct. In Nasarawa State, APC-accredited members turned out in their numbers across 147 electoral wards. The 192 wards of Edo State recorded an unprecedented turnout of APC members for the presidential primary. Ogochukwuka Ona reports that the party members unanimously affirmed the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari as their standard bearer in next year's presidential election.
From Kano comes a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has secured 2.9 million votes. The exercise, which took place across the 484 wards of the state, witnessed large turnout of party members. Governor Umar Ganduje participated in the direct primaries at his Ganduje ward in Dauken Tofa local government area, which recorded 5,000 votes. Thereafter, he retired to the Kano State APC Secretariat, which served as main collation center. Dr. Ganduje, who was the returning officer for the state, announced the collated results, which indicated the unanimous adoption of President Muhammadu Buhari as the APC flag bearer.
All the 44 returning officers with their secretaries, one by one, up to 44 local governments. We all had the individual results in favor of Muhammad Buhari, and the total votes in favor of Muhammad Buhari stands at 2,931,235 votes in favor of Muhammad Buhari.
Ganduje said the outcome is an indication that the people-oriented policies and development projects of President Muhammadu Buhari are being appreciated by the people of Kano. Similarly, the presidential primary of the All Progressives Congress was held across the state. The exercise was monitored by the Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello and Minister of State for Labor and Productivity Stephen Ochene at different places. Solomon Ainde has the report.
Party faithfuls, led by Governor Yahaya Bello, converged on Agasa Ward in Okene to declare their support for the second-term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari. The governor, who described President Buhari as God sent to liberate the country from underdevelopment and economic stagnation, said a lot have been achieved in all the sectors of the nation's economy under the present administration. Hence, the need for continuity to enable the president accomplish the good job he has started, while commending APC loyalists across the state for remaining steadfast in their belief and support for the present administration. Governor Yahaya Bello enjoined them to sustain the existing peace and remain law-abiding citizens, assuring that the national leadership of the party will turn the fortune of the country around for better. Similar exercise was held in Ida and Igalamela Odolu local government areas of the state, where the Minister of State for Labor, Stephen Ikane Ocheni, monitored the primaries. He urged APC supporters to work hard for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari.
The only way we can say thank you to Mr. President is for us to acknowledge all his achievements and then, of course, support him and then bring him back to power so that he will be able to complete the project he has started.
Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
And still staying with party primaries, the presidency says the outcome of the All Progressives Congress American-style direct presidential primaries held across the states with President Buhari as the sole aspirant is a major boost to his success at next year's general elections. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the huge turnout of millions of registered party members to all voting centers proved that the president has an incomparable ability to reach out to people and mobilize votes. The presidency says he has shown that you don't have to be a party owner or go through a difficult inner party consensus to emerge as candidates. And Bauchi State Governor Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar, who is a returning officer for the presidential primaries in the state, has announced that over 700,000 votes were cast for the second-term mandate of Muhammadu Buhari come 2019. He made the announcement at the APC State Secretariat in Bauchi. Babayo Tafida Misau completes the report.
Total accredited members, 825,380. Total members that voted, 786,032 voted.
Governor Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar, while announcing the results, said this shows the will of the people of Bauchi State and the confidence they have for the Buhari APC-led administration. The governor was among thousands of APC supporters that gathered at their polling units with their membership cards to vote in favor of the president to seek for second term in office. In Bauchi, Babeta Fidemiso, NTA News.
A governorship aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress in Lagos State, Dr. Femi Hamzat, has withdrawn from the race. The aspirant, who spoke with newsmen in Lagos, said he took the decision to support the ambition of another aspirant, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. He also directed his supporters to cast their ballots for Sanwo-Olu during tomorrow's party primary, adding that he can vouch for Sanwo-Olu's integrity and personal intelligence. In the meantime, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Social Development, Hajia Aisha Hassan, has resigned as minister and decamped from the APC to the United Democratic Party. The minister returned her APC membership card at her ward, Sarakin-Dauki Jalingo, and later registered as a member of the UDP and obtained governorship nomination form on the platform of the UDP. She attributed her action to what she described as alleged injustice done to her by the APC by disqualifying her from the race. The People's Democratic Party will hold its national convention at Port Harcourt, Rivers State, between the 6th and 7th of October 2018. The party, at the end of its National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja on Friday, promised to conduct a transparent, free and acceptable convention. The meeting also resolved to commit all the presidential aspirants to a bond on the outcome of the convention, assuring the aspirants of a transparent process. You're still watching the news on NTA International. More reports after the break. Please stay with us. You're still there. The federal government has been giving attention to solid mineral development as a veritable step towards diversifying the economy and boosting the industry. Mayor Gidi in this report checks the records of the sector.
Nigeria, a country that was centrally placed on the global solid minerals map as a major producer of columbite, tin and coal in the 1940s, suddenly became an importer of these same minerals, no thanks to the discovery and shipment of crude oil in the late 1950s. With this development, the solid minerals sector was left to its own devices, receiving the treatment of an orphan, as it were, with an estimated 1 trillion naira every year, buried at the bowels of the mountains in the north and in the productive coal deposits in the east.
This situation has become unacceptable as governments ordered the immediate development of both the upstream and downstream linkages of the industrial minerals value chain in this country.
Gladly, 2016 saw the reawakening of this money spinner as a roadmap was launched to give target and direction in the financial, environmental and administrative aspects in the solid minerals sector. These efforts did not go unnoticed, leading to the gracious release of an intervention fund to the sector by the federal government, $150 million from the World Bank, and another $5 billion jointly from the Bank of Industry and the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development to assist genuine miners and not portfolio-carrying contractors. Today, the solid minerals sector is the newest bride in the Nigerian business calendar, as the contribution to the GDP has grown from infinitesimal 0.1% to approximately 3%, with an appreciable growth rate from 10.07% in the last quarter of 2017 to 14.85% in the first quarter of 2018.
The period you need to wait before you have that profit is fairly long in the solid minerals.
The World Bank, that had earlier invested $150 billion, is committing another $125 million in the industrial minerals industry, while $730,000 for the upgrading of 6 cadastral offices in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
You cannot apply for licenses depending on the license you want online. It is going to be automated, and you don't need to come to our mining cadastral office in Abuja.
We also think that Nigeria is an attractive destination for foreign investment as well, and so we're working with the government to have a sort of proof of concept that big investors, mining companies can come to Nigeria and they can do well.
Now, kaolin, dimension stones and barytes are to be processed in Nigeria, while the aluminium smelter company in Akwa Ibom State and the Ajakuta Steel Company in Kogi State are coasting to full operation.
At a gap of 626,921 tons per annum do exist in the local production of industrial minerals required by the local industries, which is currently filled by annual importation costing about $44.5 million.
3.5 billion naira was realized from the sector in 2017 alone, courtesy of the aggressive fight against unorganized mining, as a task force was put in place to monitor the sites and vehicles donated to field officers in almost all the states. For those in the driver's seat of the solid mineral sector in Nigeria, it is a safe and gradual ride. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Similarly, coal at the time was a major income revenue generating natural resource in Nigeria. Although coal production in the country is currently on a decline, some experts in Enugu State believe that coal still holds great potential for the nation's economy if revived and harnessed. Jude Abugu now reports.
According to records, coal mining in Nigeria began in the present-day Enugu State in 1916, having earlier been discovered by the British colonialists in 1909. Coal production at the popular Onyama, Eva Valley, Ogbete, and Okpara mines rose steadily from 25,511 tons in 1916 to its peak of 905,397 tons in 1958. Decline, however, began in 1967 due to the outbreak of the Civil War, and coal production eventually stopped in year 2002 when the last coal mines were shut down. The discovery of coal in Enugu brought rapid development to the city, giving it a township status. For instance, it was coal production that prompted the construction of Eastern Railway lines from Enugu to Port Harcourt Port and building of power stations. A visit to these mining sites brings a lot to mind, especially the state of infrastructure of the industry that gave the city its second name of Coal City. Some experts say the sector can still be a great source of revenue to the nation and can serve the power sector, cement industry, iron and steel industry, as well as for domestic cooking.
After removing those unwanted gases, you bring them into shelves, which in the domestic people for cooking.
Coal contains carbon, it contains oxygen, it contains nitrogen, it contains hydrogen. So all these companies that make use of these gases in their production of one product or the other, they make use of it. In drug production, that pharmaceutical use coal.
In recent years and in countries where coal is still mined, like China, US, and Indonesia, the industry has witnessed some developments moving from digging and manually extracting coal to long-wall mines. Environmental experts are, however, of the view that for any mining activity to take place, environmental safety, such as effects on human lives and natural habitats, should be put into consideration.
During the mining, there were drill holes. These drill holes are affecting our landscape. And I think there is need to reclaim this land.
Respondents also say there is urgent need to revisit the concession and privatization of coal mines, which was carried out between 2004 and 2014. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Ondo State is blessed with natural resources, including crude oil, glass, gemstones, and bitumen, but they are yet to be fully harnessed for economic advancement. Doris Olumoko in this report x-rays the efforts to tap the large deposits of bitumen in Ondo State, rated as one of the largest in the world.
Welcome to Agbabu in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State, where lies a huge deposit of bitumen said to be the largest in Africa and second largest in the world after Canada. When harnessed, the large bitumen deposit in the state can supply more than 600,000 MTS of asphalt, which is imported into Nigeria annually for roads construction, and the country will have more for exports.
Very worrisome that it's not been tapped all this while after having been discovered so many decades ago.
You know, a lot of benefits must have accrued to the people of this country, even apart from the people, the immediate community that is the landowner. So when that bitumen is tapped, you know it will create availability of employment opportunity.
Efforts of successive administrations in Nigeria to explore bitumen has not been translated into reality, as there has been different bottlenecks delaying its exploration. This is the Bitumen Project Operations Head Office building located here in Akure, the capital of Ondo State. This building was inaugurated in 1999 by the then Minister of Solid Minerals Development under the then President Olusegun Obasanjo. However, this building has been abandoned and overtaken by weeds, as not even a single operational staff was on hand to talk to us. There is, however, hope in sight, as the federal government in July 2017 awarded a mining license to the state government. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu explained that equipment for mining are already being shipped into the country, as government is partnering with a foreign firm to realize the full exploration of bitumen.
The treasures are hidden, we know, but we are determined to unearth those treasures, and we will do it.
For the people of Ondo State, this has once again confirmed that this administration works its stocks.
President Muhammadu Buhari gave the state a special mention in the 2018 budget, where he announced a 30 billion naira solid minerals development fund to support minerals exploration activities across the country. Observers are optimistic of an economic turnaround for Nigeria when bitumen exploration begins. In Akure, Doris Olumoko for Weekend File.
Similarly, the growth and development of the solid mineral sector in Akwa Ibom State seems to be moving at a slow pace. Edidiong Ibak takes a look at the challenges of the sector and efforts at changing the narrative.
Akwa Ibom State is rich in minerals, especially oil, contributing over 31% revenue to the Federation accounts. The focus and dependence on this sector has largely contributed to the somewhat neglect of other sectors, and this has also affected the solid mineral sector too. Solid minerals like silica sand, clay, limestone and salt are scattered in abundance in various local government areas of the state, although still very untapped.
That sector had been moribund until the governor, Mr. Dom Emmanuel, in this particular administration, he decided to, he focus his searchlights, in that particular sector.
Professor Gregory Fiong is a soil chemist at the University of Uyo and says one of the major challenges facing the development of the solid mineral sector is infrastructural development, but admitted that it is a huge income earner.
We can concentrate where we have enough clear quantity in the soil for rice to grow, and you can produce them profitably.
Obotmeiwere is a community in a local government area where there is a large presence of limestone and clay, and for a community with such economic deposits, this is not in any way beneficial to them. The Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources, Dr. Inyebong Essien, admits that although the sector involves huge capital investments, the state government has already carried out a geoscientific study and has generated data that will aid investors interested in the sector. On the role of the federal government in ensuring that this income-spinning sector is well harnessed, Dr. Inyebong says
the federal government should come to the aid of the state by investing in the geophysical survey and quantification and the beneficiation of the materials to actually ascertain the level of and the quantity of the solid minerals, available in each of these sites, and then we should be able to attract the needed investors to the state.
It is believed that if the solid mineral sector is given the desired attention, it could become a huge income earner and bolster the economic growth of not just the state, but the country at large. In Uyo, Edidiong Iba, NTA News.
The Bureau of Public Service Reforms is pushing for a reform to break the limitations contained in the Public Service Rule that is hampering the full Implementation Act passed 7 years ago. Acting Director General of the Bureau, Ibrahim Arabi, confirmed this to the Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Expression and Access to Information in Africa, Lawrence Mote, as he undertook an advocacy visit to Nigeria. Justin Bemuni was there.
The purpose of the visit was to build capacities and increase awareness in Nigeria on Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, also known as the African Charter, which establishes the right of freedom of expression and access to information. The Special Rapporteur, alongside representatives working in the field to ensure access to information and elections, had interacted with state and non-state actors so as to support full implementation of the Freedom of Information Act 2011. While at the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, the team sought to know how well used and respected is this act in Nigeria and the need for reforms, especially as it affects the civil service, commending the Bureau for lofty efforts so far made in the drive to ensure proactive disclosure of information.
I just wish to confirm how recently the actual substantive work of reform focusing specifically around incorporating the elements of F or I in the rules themselves.
In line with the Bureau's mandate to initiate, coordinate, monitor, and ensure full implementation of government reform policies and programs, Acting Director General of the agency confirmed that activities now centered around capacity building to ensure full understanding and implementation of the Freedom of Information Act. Among other reform initiatives within the Nigerian Federal Public Service, the acting DG said efforts are on course to review the Act to address the challenge of unwillingness by public officials to engender paradigm shift to information disclosure and ICT due to limitations contained in the Public Service Rule.
We are pushing for e-government. E-government has not been captured so far in the Public Service Rule. If we want that to happen, if we want electronic data management system to work, if we want evidence, electronic evidence to be provided in courts and places outside the public service, this public service rule must be revised and it must capture this. And I'm assuring you that something is being done around that.
The delegation from the African Commission on Human and People's Rights was also given some publications on reform initiatives and achievements by the Bureau. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Joining us, you're watching the news on NTA International. More reports after the break. Please stay with us.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Good to know you're still there. And turning to security issues now. The Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist hideout at a settlement known as Bakassi near Daba Marsara on the fringes of Lake Chad in the northern part of Borno State. Similarly, the Air Task Force, in close coordination with troops of 145 Battalion Nigerian Army, also repelled a Boko Haram attack at Ganshiga. The attack at Bakassi was carried out following days of intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance missions that led to the identification of a group of buildings and makeshift shelters in the settlement being used by the terrorists as tactical headquarters. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibukunle Daramola, says the Nigerian Air Force will sustain the momentum of operations with a view to destroying the insurgents in the fringes of Lake Chad and other areas in northern Borno. Monday, 1st October 2018 has been declared public holiday to commemorate Nigeria's 58th independence anniversary. A statement by Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Mohammed Bello Umar, says the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Bello Budambazau, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulates Nigerians on the anniversary and urged them to sustain efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in maintaining and strengthening the unity and peace of Nigeria. The curfew imposed on Jos North and Jos South local government areas of Plateau State has been relaxed from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. local time. This is contained in a statement issued in Jos by Acting Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Richard Tokman, who urged citizens to remain calm as law enforcement agencies are taking steps to safeguard lives and property of the populace. Earlier, the Plateau State Command of the Nigerian Police confirmed an attack by yet-to-be-identified gunmen at Rukuba Road on Thursday night, in which some people sustained injuries while others lost their lives. Strong aftershocks have continued to hit the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, where major quake and tsunami killed at least 384 people and injured 500. Reports say dozens are still missing and some trapped in the debris of collapsed buildings in Peru. Bodies have been lying in the city streets, and the injured are being treated in tents because of damaged hospitals. 2 soldiers and 2 women have died in attacks in Democratic Republic of Congo's Walton North province. Rwanda rebels attacked an army position at Madbo, killing the Congolese soldiers. And Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has ended a visit to Germany by opening one of Europe's largest mosques. He said the mosques in Cologne stood as a symbol of peace and thanked the German government for pressing ahead with its construction despite protests. And talking sports now, 8 teams qualified to the final stage of 2018 Kwesi Premier Basketball League as Clinton Igodala and Aminat Musa emerged champions on the first national under-16 squash tournament in Lagos. Kehinde Lamidi has details.
The 2017-2018 Kwesi Premier Basketball League in both the Atlantic and Savannah conferences ended in Lagos and Bauchi respectively. 4 teams from each conference qualified for the final 8, slated for October 1st. Kwara Falcons occupied the top spot to retain the Atlantic Conference trophy, while Olumide's Oyedeji's Hoops and Red, Customs, and Anambra Flames qualified. The 4 teams that qualified from Savannah Conference in Bauchi are Gombe Bulls, Kano Pillars, Bauchi Nets, and Ayib Giants of Kano. A total of 45 Scotch players from 6 states featured at the first National Under-16 Scotch Tournament, which ended at the Koi Club in Lagos. In the boys' final, Clinton Igodala of Lagos beat Abraham Tudor of Kwara 3-0.
It means a lot because from here you can be representing Nigeria in any international competition.
While Aminat Musa defeated her teammate Rukayat Oladumoye from Kwara State 3-1 to win the girls category.
To encourage my juniors, and they also encourage me so to win for Nigeria.
The tournament was aimed at developing new sets of players in preparation to take over from the aging ones in the nearest future.
We've seen some new discoveries. Some of our players are playing fantastic. We've seen budding talents that we need to work on, and that's really the aim of this. We also want to see them grow.
All is now set for the hosting of the 3rd edition of Lagos Women Run, slated for the 10th of November this year. The initiator of the 10-kilometer women race, Tayo Popola, who disclosed this while speaking with sport journalists in Lagos, said this year's edition will experience different innovations.
We want everybody to come and have fun, to come and see the beauty of Lagos.
The kits for the tournament are also unveiled. With sports update, Kehinde Lamidi, NTA News.
And sports updates concludes the news. I'm Chiazala Meki. We thank you for watching.
In the emirate could be subdivided into different eras. Odua is seen as the ancestral father of the Yorubas. At the outing of the Obi, those present have an opportunity to view firsthand his royal dance steps. From 1806 to 1906, Dawura produced 9 Fulani emirs. He steps out amid praises and joy as he moves to serve his people. The process of
change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
thought I said don't come back. People went to say Libya, Italy. Italy no easy when they carry me on top water. 4 days now they lock me for inside house, no food, no water. I nearly die. Now God, when me heaven and earth, now save me. If you get 1 naira for Nigeria, you get junior one, you say you no get papa, you no get mama, that make you come out. I beg go they do farm work. You better pass person when enter road.
Don't accept to travel to Europe through the Sahara Desert. You may be walking into slavery. Don't be a slave.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Welcome to Nigeria, a fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. A land of beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget. Discover fascinating Nigeria.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
That I can do it, even though I'm getting old, even though I'm a mother, because she's a mother, she's married. So even though I'm a mother, I'm getting old, I can still dance. It's not something that can end. I've seen old people dancing and they're still making it. So it's not something that should just die down. It's not something that should end. You should keep on promoting. So I look up to her because she gives me this motivation that yes, I can keep on promoting myself. I can keep on dancing. Aliyah is another international dancer. Like she's into her dancings have gone wide. Every musician, every entertainer is calling her. Every shows you see Aliyah. She's really making it, and she's giving me these jewels that yes, I can do it. These are dancers that have